My name is Taylor. I am presenting commercial space companies say cut red tape or the US will lose its lead in spaceflight. Cut red tape is a phrase that means reducing unnecessary rules and regulations that will make things more slow and complicated. It's primarily about simplifying processes so that things can be done quicker. The article presents the example of companies having to go through many steps before launching a rocket, and all the steps can be made much simpler and quicker by cutting red tape. The commercial space industry in the United States is a thriving industry, the companies in particular being Blue Origin, SpaceX, and Virgin Galactic. Despite the progress of these companies, concerns arise about the increasing bureaucracy that will hinder their growth. Bureaucracy is a system of organizing and managing work in large organizations like governments or businesses where rules and procedures are necessary and a clear hierarchy is followed. In the textbook, it says a bureaucracy is arranged as a hierarchy. That means that those whose positions are located atop the bureaucracy have more authority than those whose positions are located at the bottom. Overall, a bureaucracy is a way of doing things that involves lots of steps and rules to make sure that everything is fair and done correctly. The article highlights the worry that the U.S. will lose its lead in spaceflight if something isn't done to fix the issue with the regulatory system. The article shows senators' concerns. Senators at the hearing expressed concern that the U.S. could lose its leadership in the space race due to delays in regulatory approvals and inefficiency in the licensing process, highlighting how space transportation is critical to national security and economic growth. In conclusion, while the immediate need for reducing regulatory burdens for commercial space companies is understandable, it is essential to balance with the necessary steps already in place for safety and security. With that being said, the 2 points being argued today by my fellow classmates are how bureaucracies provide standardization and education, and how bureaucracies provide expertise and the FDA.
Hi, my name is Haley Forster, and I'm arguing why red tape is harmful. And for this, I'm going to use the subjects of providing standardization in education and providing expertise in the FDA. In my opinion, like everything else, these both have good and bad things about them, but I feel like the bad outweighs the good. But to start this off, I'm going to use providing standardization in education. A lot of people say that the system is broken, even after decades of trying to fix it and make it better. And like one of the ways that I saw it described a lot while doing my research is it's like a machine bureaucracy. But if they've spent like decades trying to fix this and make it better, but it still just provides mediocre learning, why do we still use it, kind of thing? And how is it helpful if it's just mediocre learning environments? Yeah, but like I mentioned earlier, it's almost like they were trying to mimic machine bureaucracy while designing it, because all of the challenges are treated like technical problems that need to be solved. Along with that line of it's like mechanical bureaucracy, it tends to seem like an assembly line that's supposed to be orderly and controlled with the goal of having high quality students with no defects, and like standardized testing that they provide, it's like quality control, basically, like making sure there's no defects. And it's just the way that students can be measured, predicted, and like controlled based on the results of their standardized testing. So I feel like that leads more towards hurtful or harmful within the system, because not all students learn the same and they don't all perform the same constantly. So it can't be like they have to be high quality and perfect all the time. So like standardization just kind of seems more hurtful in a way. But within the case of expertise of the FDA, the FDA seems to protects the reputation more than anything, because if you look at it, the FDA takes a long time with approval because they don't want to make a mistake that people will notice, and then people start losing their trust in them, and their confidence within the FDA will diminish over time the more mistakes they make. So it's they seem to try to protect their reputation more than anything. The FDA can also control what hits the market and what doesn't. So if there was actually a medicine say cancer treatments out there, but the FDA was no, it's not good, and what if it actually works, but they were just no, it's not good, so they can control how long it takes for a medicine to hit the market, and if it even hits the market at all. And the FDA tends to prioritize the medical treatments and medications type thing that hospitalize more people. But yes, that is a good thing, but at the same time there's other things out there that people have suffered with for years waiting on treatment to be released, and they might suffer with this for a whole lot longer because it's rare, and it doesn't make it any less dangerous for the person. It just means less people have it. But you never know if there's actually going to be a medicine released for that, or when it will be. But that's why I feel red tape is harmful within the FDA, because it just takes them so long to get medications out there for people who need it, with their rare cases and stuff. And if they kind of sped up their process in finding one that approving medications, that would be helpful, but they only focus on the ones that hospitalize the most, and they take years or more to approve medications for the rare causes. But that is why, those are the reasons I think red tape is more harmful than helpful. And thanks.
Hi everyone, I'm Carly Seitz, and this week I am arguing that bureaucracies and red tape are a good thing. The federal bureaucracy is an important part of the U.S. government's functioning. While many people hate on the bureaucracy, it plays a crucial role in putting into action government policies and providing vital services to the American people. When people hear bureaucracy, they might think of lots of paperwork and long waiting times. But really, the federal bureaucracy is just the system that helps the government run smoothly. That red tape people complain about is actually there for a reason, to provide us with important things like standardization, expertise, accountability, and yes, even efficiency. Our textbook presents us with Max Weber's definition of bureaucracy and highlights the key features of bureaucracy. Bureaucracies are hierarchical. They have a chain of command, they function using standardized operating procedures, and they are organized with a division of labor that allows for specialization and expertise. These aspects of bureaucracies are the primary contributors to the strengths of bureaucracy that I will be arguing for in this video. The federal bureaucracy is made up of different parts like departments, agencies, and commissions, each with its own job. For example, the Department of Education's job is to make rules for education, manage, and coordinate most federal help for education. On the other hand, the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, takes care of keeping people and the environment safe by making sure laws passed by Congress are followed. In this video, I'm going to argue that bureaucratic red tape is a good thing for Americans for the following two reasons. Bureaucratic agencies provide standardization across the entire country, and two, bureaucratic agencies provide expertise that help keep citizens safe. The first reason I'm arguing that bureaucratic red tape is a positive force in the United States is because of the standardization these rules provide. Bureaucratic agencies provide standardization and rules to ensure that there is equality among all people and all states for a government program. All citizens should receive the same treatment and no one should be discriminated against. This is very important because it is a lot easier and more efficient to give one set of rules to a large group of people than give a separate set of rules to each separate person. If a person was to go to apply for their passport, each person has to follow all of the same rules and have all of the same documents so that each individual receives the most fair and unbiased treatment. It would be so much worse for our society if each state had its own set of rules and some states made it very easy to get a passport while others made it very hard. This brings me to my point about the value of bureaucratic standardization as related to education. Education is certainly a central topic of debate in the United States, including issues such as education standards, equality of education, segregation, and the intersection of religion and schools. Since 1979, the Department of Education has helped to implement national standards for all schools across America. No one school is allowed to teach in a biased way, in a way that would only benefit certain children and not others. For example, when the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was passed into law, it made discrimination on people based on race, gender, color, religion, or nationality a violation of the Constitution. This meant that the federal government had the job of making sure that schools in every state abide by these laws. They had to ensure that each separate school allowed integration and allowed black students to go to school with white students, and especially to make sure that black students weren't treated any differently or received fewer educational opportunities. This is why I believe standardization is so important, because it provides Americans with a consistent set of rules that everybody else has to follow. It levels out the playing field and makes it a more equal way of living for everyone. The federal bureaucratic agencies help to ensure that each person is treated fairly and equally, no matter what state they live in. The second reason I am arguing for the value of bureaucratic red tape is expertise. People who work in these bureaucratic agencies tend to be experts in their field because of the division of labor and the hiring standards that are used. As our book discusses in Chapter 9, bureaucracies are merit-based. That is, decisions about appointments, promotions, and so on in the bureaucracy are based on qualifications rather than arbitrary criteria. They are professionals who understand their work, and this can lead them to make well-thought-out and informed decisions within their agencies. A great example of how expertise comes into play is the FDA. The Food and Drug Administration ensures the safety of food, pharmaceuticals, and medical devices. For instance, before a new drug can be sold to consumers, it must undergo rigorous testing and meet the FDA's safety standards. This helps prevent harmful or ineffective drugs from reaching the market, thereby protecting consumers' health. The bureaucrats who work in the FDA are well versed in the science around food safety, which helps them to make the best decisions about certain regulations that pertain to food. We, as citizens, benefit from their expertise because the regulations, or red tape, they put into place keep our food and medicine safe. This expertise is incredibly valuable, and we are so fortunate that we can trust our drinking water or the medicines we take. Thanks for watching my arguments about why the federal bureaucracy and bureaucratic red tape are a force for good here in the United States. Bye.